Massive news that could shake up the AI and semiconductor world, especially for Nvidia stockholders. This update has serious implications for Nvidia's future revenue, China's tech strategy, and the broader global chip race. So let's unpack exactly what's happening, what Nvidia said, what it means, and why I still think this stock has major upside, even in the face of some short-term turbulence. Alright, here's the headline. On April 9, 2025, the US government informed Nvidia that it will now require a license to export certain chips, including the H20 series, to China, Hong Kong, Macau, and other countries identified as D5 nations. Now what's the big deal about that? Well, until now, Nvidia was already restricted from selling its most cutting-edge chips like the A100 or H100 into China. But the H20 chip was the line in the sand. It was the most advanced product Nvidia could sell to China without a license. And now even that has been slapped with new restrictions. The new rule means Nvidia needs to apply for permission just to ship these H20 chips and any product with similar memory or interconnect bandwidth. But here's the catch, they're not likely to get that license. This looks a lot like a de facto ban. The language is all about license requirements, but behind the scenes, this is the US government tightening the screws hard. So if Nvidia can't sell these chips into China, they're facing a serious hit to their short-term numbers. And the company knows it. Nvidia has already announced that it expects a charge of $5.5 billion, yes, billion with a B, in the first quarter of fiscal 2026. This is tied to H20 inventory, purchase commitments, and reserves. Basically, Nvidia already built these chips, they had orders lined up, the supply chain was moving, and now everything has to stop. That's a ton of chips just sitting in warehouses that were supposed to be shipped to China. So you're probably thinking, well, can't they just sell them elsewhere? Great question. And the answer is, probably, yes. Demand for Nvidia's products is off the charts right now. These chips are still extremely valuable. Even if customers can't get the very latest model, they're willing to take whatever Nvidia can ship. So that inventory? It's not going to collect dust for long. But, and this is important, even if they do sell it later, Nvidia is still reporting a $5.5 billion hit right now. Why? Because it lets them reduce their taxable profits. This is a smart strategic move. If you're facing export restrictions that are going to delay shipments, you take the write-off now, save on taxes today, and potentially generate new revenue from that same inventory later. In the world of accounting and corporate finance, that's just smart planning. Now, let's zoom out for a second. How big of a hit is this in the grand scheme of Nvidia's business? I pulled up a chart from Finch.io showing Nvidia's full-year revenue from its most recently completed fiscal year, ending in January 2025. $131 billion in total revenue. And only $17.1 billion of that came from China, including Hong Kong. That's around 13% of their revenue. And it's likely to be even lower this year due to these mounting restrictions. So yes, losing access to China for this tier of technology stings, but it's not catastrophic. It's not like China made up half their business. And again, a lot of those chips will likely still be sold elsewhere. Now, naturally, the stock price did take a hit when the news broke. Nvidia's forward price-to-earnings ratio dropped to 22.84. And since then, I've been flooded with questions. Should I still invest in Nvidia? Does this change your bullish view? So let me be clear. Yes, this is a negative headline. Yes, it'll hurt their short-term sales to China. But no, it does not change my long-term thesis. I still believe Nvidia is one of the top 9 stocks to own in 2025 and beyond. And I reaffirmed that on April 17th, just days after this announcement. Why? Because Nvidia's technology is mission-critical for the global AI boom. Demand is through the roof. The company has pricing power, elite engineering talent, and a product roadmap that stretches years ahead of the competition. The export bans may slow things down with China, but they won't stop the AI revolution. And Nvidia is at the center of that revolution. Now, let's go a little deeper. What's really happening here geopolitically? This isn't just about one company. This is about the US trying to contain China's rise in advanced technologies, especially AI, semiconductors, and high-performance computing. Some experts are calling it a digital iron curtain. The idea is to cut China off from bleeding-edge chips that power the next wave of AI. But here's where it gets risky. Because if you push China too far, they might escalate. They might ban exports of rare earth metals. Or retaliate against US tech companies like Apple and Tesla that depend heavily on Chinese manufacturing. Or start selling off US Treasuries. That's what makes this situation so complex. It's not just about trade, it's about national security, global supply chains, and who controls the future of computing. That's why some people are calling this a new Cold War. And if it escalates, it could turn into a financial Cold War, or even a hot conflict over Taiwan. Now, let's flip back to Nvidia. What happens next? Well, the company will need to work closely with regulators to figure out what it can export to China and other D5 nations. Maybe they'll develop new, lower-performance chips that still meet China's needs while staying under the regulatory radar. Maybe they'll shift focus to other fast-growing markets like India, the Middle East, or Southeast Asia. But they're going to be fine. Why? Because AI adoption is just getting started. Every data center, every cloud provider, every Fortune 500 company, they need what Nvidia is building. And this demand isn't going away. If anything, it's intensifying. So yes, there will be quarterly noise. Yes, this restriction is a setback. But Nvidia remains the gold standard in AI computing. And that's not going to change overnight. If anything, these restrictions just show how important and powerful Nvidia has become. They're too good at what they do. And that's exactly why governments are paying attention. Alright, quick announcement before we wrap this up. We just launched a private Discord for VIP channel members. It's your backstage pass to ask questions, share insights, and chat directly with me. There are only a few spots open right now, so if you want to join our investing community, hit that join button and let's build something amazing together. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment letting me know what you think about Nvidia's future in this new regulatory world. See you in the next one.